Hi, good afternoon, and welcome back. Happy Monday to you all. Or I should say welcome or welcome back if this is your first time here. My name is Swamp Rose, and this is a true crime podcast, and I cover the case against Brian Koberger, otherwise known as the Idaho4 case. And today I have several stories for you. So I think we'll just get them all done in this one live stream, and I'll try to keep it short and sweet. But this first story, I'm going to kind of build off of something that I heard about this weekend that came up in one of my live streams. Hey, Snell, thanks for showing up. And thank you to the live chat. I just should say hi to everyone. We have Snell here. And Strutter, 614. Joey, nice to see you. And John, I hope you saw I adopted your Swampers terminology. So I call my members Miss Swampers now. So I don't know if you guys noticed. Oh, and Debbie's here. Thank you. I was reading an email you sent me this morning. I hope you got my email. She sent me an incredible soundbite from Peter Tragos, who I always love. I always love checking out his channel. I want to point out to you guys at the top of the chat, I have pinned a Discord link. So I've been working on a Discord server. It's really small. It's only a few days old, but it's got some really incredible sections that I think you'd be interested in, and it's free. So if you'd like to keep the chat going 24/7 or supplement the chat here, go ahead and join our Discord server. So anyway, and so let's get right into today's story. Hi, Paul. Hi, Michelle. So, oh, actually, I'm going to do that story afterwards. Let me start out with this story. So when I was doing my live stream Saturday, I played a TikTok video that I hadn't played in a long time. And it was regarding a very popular TikTok creator who was told to take down some Idaho4 content they had reposted. It was basically something from a live stream, a TikTok live she had seen. She reposted it and she was told to take it down. She won't exactly tell us who told her to take it down or why. But when it was brought up to my live stream the other day, somebody says they've heard that this is actually the person was required to take it down because there is a connection to Papa Rogers. So anyway, I'm going to bring you this story. I'd like to know what you think. I'd like to know if you know any more to this. But I've done some extensive research on Papa Roger, and I want to show you two quick clips. So this first one is my identification process of Papa Rogers. And then the second one is going to be the TikTok video that I'm talking about. This is a pretty short video, but it's pretty thorough. I edited it up so that it's quick and we don't have a lot of dead air. That I was going to do was Papa Rogers and the meaning of the profile pic. And I have kind of an interesting take on this. So, and I don't see this subject talked about mainstream, but I've heard it brought up by several different creators, and that's something called Stickergate. Could it be that the person who created the Papa Roger account, who purposefully used a Red Army soldier whose symbol is the sickle and hammer within a red star, could it be a local? Could it be someone who wanted to make it look like a local? Okay. Could it be someone who wanted to make it look like political involvement? I don't know, but it is odd that there was this whole controversy of Stickergate that involved local politicians and local leaders, and Papa Rogers appears to have somewhat the same symbolism in his profile pic. I just thought that was interesting. I don't know what it means, but
Moscow, 20-year-old Moscow man who put Soviet Moscow stickers on City of Moscow properties in 2020 was found guilty Monday. Rory Wilson was ordered to pay $257.50 in fines and fees, $186.80 in restitution, and be on unsupervised probation for 90 days. Prosecuting attorney Liz Warner said Wilson is also required to write an essay to the court about legal protests as part of his sentence.
If you know about Stickergate, please leave a comment in the chat. Any info would be great. Our masks, we're not going to stand in your little circles, and we're going to,
And
Victorine.
I'm gonna pull up the most recent video that I did on Papa Rogers, and it was a post I created because I wanted other creators to be able to take those Papa Rogers posts and create some content with them.
So I actually saw somebody using this video the other day. I have two versions of it. I have one that is redacted, which you can use in a video. I don't think you'd have to use the redacted one to use it in a video, but I took the time to do one with redacted names. And then I have one that's like all the original posts, but I do have these archived on my channel. And somebody brought it up in Discord, and then he brought it up. I'm hoping Tonka is going to show. Oh, Tonka, you're here. Good. I wasn't going to say anything unless Tonka brought up something I'm going to bring up, but I didn't want to say anything unless you showed up. Anyway, it brought it back into the forefront for me when he posted that the other day. Let's keep going.
So I kind of edited them all and blew them up and put them in like a format and read them out loud so people could use it. But in the midst of that, I started kind of getting curious about that profile pic that Papa Rogers had. And I'm like, that's a pretty, it doesn't seem like an accident. Like whoever chose that, it seems like they would have some sort of meaning behind it. So I did some research.
Like the one thing I don't state, which is the obvious thing, which is there is another connection. When I get to all these historical connections, the tie that brings all of this together is the tongue-in-cheek joke that this is Moscow, Idaho, and the Red Army soldier was based in Moscow. I'm just saying. Duh, right?
On it. And I found a couple things out, and I think I've made a connection back to Moscow, Idaho. Possibly. It could just be in my head. I don't know.
The following are Papa Rogers' writings and images posted to the University of Idaho Facebook discussion group. Papa Roger account updated their profile pic. This pic appears to have come from the website CG Trader from artist Yi Shu, who found the image and photoshopped it randomly from the web.
So when I first saw this profile pic, I started doing research. I'm like, okay, how am I going to figure out what type of soldier this is? So somebody said it's a World War. It was a World War I soldier or an early soldier. And what tipped me off was there's a little. If you zoom in on Papa Rogers, you can see like a little star in the front, and it's actually red. And even further, the way that the shirt is collared up in the type of patches that are on the arm. Finishing the description, and then I'll tell you the connection I think I've made. Maybe shoe. The caption reads, "What could be worse than war? It's hard to even imagine. Fighting for a country is a courageous and heroic action. However, a possibility to die for someone's interest does not sound too good. There were 2 world wars already, and I think nobody wants another one to happen. Nevertheless, sometimes there are other factors which you cannot impact." Yi Shu made a photorealistic portrait of an unknown old soldier. And here is what we wanted to achieve. In this piece, I tried to achieve photographic effect to learn some lighting and hair techniques, and the reference is some image from the net. So I tried to identify who Papa Rogers was. I'm going to show you this. So Papa Roger is an early 1920s red soldier. So I can identify it as a 1920s soldier, a World War I soldier versus a World War II soldier because of the shoulders. So as you can see on these Russian outfits, they have these shoulder pads and emblems. And by World War II, they had essentially done away with those shoulder pads because they wanted the outfits to not resemble the imperialistic army of the past. All right, let me go on. So when I'm identifying this soldier, it's called a Palatko hat. And if you look, there's a little red star in the corner. So generally when you see a combination of this red star and this uniform, you're either dealing with a sniper or a medic.
I'm sorry. So sorry, you guys. Kane Be the Purge, please go check out his channel when you have a chance. Have you seen my work on Stickergate and the video the church deleted right after I played it? I haven't. And oh wait, I think I have. Is it the flamethrower? No quarter is November. Is that what we're talking about? I don't know. Please drop it in the chat, you guys. And then after that, thanks, Tonka. Nell says, it sure is an odd coinkydink that Papa Rogers looks so much like BK. Well, I think that's a good comment for us to transition into the next soundbite. So this soundbite, word on the street, is linked somehow back to Papa Roger. Now, all of us who have kind of looked into Papa Roger, well, I mean, we think like one of two things. Either it's law enforcement or possibly someone involved in the crime. I think that it could be somebody, if it is somebody involved in the crime, that's possible, because we've heard there's no social media connection to the victims, and this wouldn't necessarily be one. So it could simultaneously exist. So this soundbite is perplexing. But what was said by Heather Fitzgerald, one of my managing mods, is that this has been taken down because they found out they figured out who Papa Rogers was, and it was debunked. So let's listen to what this TikToker has to say, and you can judge for yourself. Video, because I don't even know what to make of this video now. I'll just bring it to you guys, and you guys can tell me what you think. This is a very popular TikTok personality. She normally posts about music and politics. And she posted this one Idaho4 video. I'm going to pause for here. She repurposed it from a live stream. Okay, so let's get very clear, because I have actually heard from people in the Facebook forum on how the chain of events started, okay? So this is how the Papa Rogers account plays out as far as activity before and after BK's arrest. It went active that day before he was arrested, and then it went dead silent. It went active again in March, long enough for it to be deleted. Now, there was I don't know if it was a spoof account or an alt account, but there was another Papa Roger account that posted, but the people on the forum who track this and who were there from the beginning and spoke with Papa Roger say it was a different person. Papa Roger never posted again after BK was arrested, except for that moment where it went live and then got deleted. So I don't know what that is. I mean, it's like 4 months after the arrest. So, I mean, you would think if it was LE, they would have done it sooner, but who knows? But just to answer your question, and we'll keep going with this, and I'll display your comments, and I'm starring them too, you guys. We'll get to them in a second. And she was told to take it down, and she doesn't specify who took it down. I got this from Bubbly Waters channel. I want to make sure I'm giving credit to Bubs. Please go visit Bubbly Waters. This is where you get content like this. She has, she's literally like our historian when it comes to Idaho4 case in around this YouTube. Bubbly Waters. So anyway, listen to this and let me know your thoughts. And then I have a whole live stream on Brian Kohlberg's girlfriend, but I'm like thinking I might have to do that one tonight.
It down. Let's just hear in her own words.
That the posts that were speculated, that they were speculating that Brian had potentially posted on 4chan Reddit, that in fact is confirmed that it was him doing that, like talking about the murders and stuff like that, and giving out information of how in fact the suspect Brian K, how he was in fact arrested, how that information got to police, because so many tips were coming into the police. This one ended up being a pretty reliable source in that they gave information that nobody could possibly know except them. And I have never even made one video about the Idaho murders. I was pretty content in watching other people's TikToks, just getting like facts and speculation from other creators. So anyway, I really don't care who thought it was real or fake or not. It's just, I fell into the live. I thought it was important information for other people to know, and I released it. So yeah, crazy stuff. Took him down. That's fine. No problem. I'll take them down.
Okay, so, all right. So I don't think we need to, I think we've had enough of the video. That video is called The Writing on the Wall. It's, it was a pretty popular video. Highly recommend it. Anyway, I'm curious about this comment from Heather. Literally, they came out with who Papa Rogers is. When? Like, or are you saying that that TikToker, that's what she came out with? That would be interesting. Yeah, it's all confusing, Meg. And thank you for your help with my teaser for tonight's show. So that was kind of they came, yeah, it's all confusing, Meg. And thank you for your help with my teaser for tonight's show. Hold on, what did Meanie say? I think there's more to the Facebook thing than people are talking about. It's curious to me that sisters supposedly so close don't follow socials, but the in-laws do. Yeah, I don't know. I heard some rumor about there was like a tension about something between the two sisters, but I haven't heard anything confirmed. Yeah, I don't know. I can tell you right now, I have older sisters, so that's a different related about some of the reds. That's it for Papa Rogers on this clip. And then the last thing I want to bring up is what Tom, and then Kane is emailing me. Kane is emailing me something about Stickergate with a timestamp. And while I'm pulling this up, I'll go get, we'll share Kane's soundbite too. Let me pull up Discord. I want to pull up my Papa Roger video. I literally have like 5 Papa Roger videos. I really went on a Papa Roger kick in like March. Sounds so funny. Okay, so again, I'll try to link these afterwards. I have every single Papa Roger post here ever made. I have I'll do this one and the redacted version, so you can use them for your content if you like. All right, so this is interesting. So many people find this Papa Roger account mysteriously connected. So many things about it just draw a lot of mystery and speculation against Papa Roger account. So Papa Roger's account. So if this TikTok video had something related to the could it be that it could be many things? We can only speculate. We have no idea. It could be that it could be a hoaxer. It could be someone who broke the law. Maybe it could be LE. It could be evidence. There's a host of reasons why it could be taken down, aside from the fact it could be connected to the perpetrator of the crime. But Tonka brought this up, and this might even be the headline for this story when I do release it, which is there's this one post, which is just interesting. And it makes me go back to that verbiage in the second request for motion for discovery from the defendant. When we saw that very weird, and again, I'm just speculating here. Why don't I go ahead and put the speculation banner up so you guys know this is just a true crime podcast and we are just, oops, that's not the right one. Get the right banner up. All commentary is just speculation, opinion, just reacting to people's thoughts and ideas. And since this case is gagged, sealed, and redacted, anything we say is a guess as it goes. But anyway, as Tonka was saying, there's this one post in here that Papa Roger makes to Melanie Stewart. I believe they are familiar, but temporarily to the area, like working on a short-term construction project. I mean, the defendant in this case was technically on a short-term project in the area. So there's that. So either way, that does match the defendant in this case, but could this be something else? You know, we have so many speculations. I heard Rory from Thou Shalt Not Kill do an incredible video with his lingering questions about the Kopaka, who was killed just, you know, a few weeks after this crime. And we always hear about co-defendant. Now, I'm not trying to make conspiracy theories or speculate, but what could be the reason this girl was forced to take down her TikTok? The one thing we know for sure is she wasn't forced to take it down due to misinformation. All we have to do is look around us. Nobody's making anybody do that. She was told to take it down for information, not misinformation. So what could it be? I don't know. Drop it in the chat what you guys think, and I think we should just go ahead. Oh, and Kane probably emailed me that. Kane probably emailed me that already. Let me go ahead and just check my email because I don't want to miss out on an opportunity to play one of Kane's videos. Here we go. No, he did not email it to me. Never mind. Oh, I'm in the wrong email. I didn't, but I did hear, you know what, that's funny. I'm looking at my email. I'm going to make an announcement right now. I have 2 guests coming on this week. I have one coming on Thursday, which is Nina from Warning Label Nina. And we're going to be talking about prison reform in the state of Idaho. And I actually have some information from Rochelle, one of my subscribers. I'm not going to get into details, but it is some shocking statistics kind of along the lines of prison reform. But we're going to do a late night live stream for that. And I think we're doing that this Thursday. And I was just saying, when I was in my email box, I just got confirmation from celebrity psychic Brandy Wells, and she's going to be coming on our show to evaluate the geologically, she's going to evaluate the ley lines of not only the King Road residents. She's working on this now. She's also doing the ley lines. I've asked her to do the courthouse in Boise, just because it's just so interesting how so many darker parts of our culture have congregated in that one courthouse. So anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the next story, which I think is our biggest update right now. Oh, there's a lot of new people in the chat. Thank you for being here, you guys. I'm muted? Oh, God. That scared me. I thought this was America. Okay. Oh, so Tonka, who brought up that post about the Papa Rogers post, says, I have my own independent speculations that do not include BK. And I think that okay, so let's just talk about the Tonka. One thing we know for sure, and I don't know why I have my screen like that. One thing we know for sure is that Ann Taylor is using a alternative suspect defense in this. Although that night she might not be giving a narrative on alternative suspect, that's what she's saying. Her client is innocent. He wasn't there. So when it comes to these speculations, people might think they're so far out in left field when we talk about Kopaka or this Papa Roger post. I don't know why my camera is so glitchy. Hold on. But it's not. It's not, because that is the defense of Brian Koberger. It is an alternative suspect defense. They are saying he is innocent. Remember? They said, Your Honor, I firmly believe in my client's innocence. So they're going with alternative suspect theory. So when we hear Papa Roger, if this is proven to be connected to anyone, yeah, that line might mean a lot. So thank you for bringing it to my attention. So another really interesting story, which I feel is an update because a really amazing article recently came out, is I saw when I was on Heather Fitzgerald's page. Let me make sure this is showing. When I was on Heather, oh, let me take Tonka's thing down. When I was on Heather Fitzgerald's page yesterday, I saw this incredible article from Yoli Yola. But right underneath it, Mrs. Potts had posted something I'm going to read first. And I actually have a soundbite for you guys as well. that you'll find really interesting. I'll just scroll down here. I tried to zoom in so you guys could really see it. Okay, so this is what I was reading on Heather's page from Miss Potts. You know, it's kind of cut off so you can't see, but they're talking about an act in 1994 where they actually put into these DNA databases that they made an act in 1994, and this is just stating it. DNA data is confidential. Accessibility is restricted to criminal justice. I can't read everything. Is also permitted. Why can't I click on it? Here we go. Oh, here we go. All right. Here we go. What precautions are taken to safeguard the information in these DNA databases? A computer terminal's servers contain the CODIS software are located in a physical server space. Access to these computers are limited to only those individuals authorized to use CODIS and approved by the FBI. Communications between participating federal, state, and local laboratories occur over a wide area network accessible to only criminal justice agencies approved by the FBI. Pursuant to federal law, the DNA Identification Act of 1994, DNA data is confidential. Access is restricted to criminal justice agencies for law enforcement identification purposes. Defendants are also permitted to access the samples and analyze and perform in connection with their case. If all personally research and protocol development purposes or for quality control purposes, the unauthorized disclosure of DNA data to the National DNA Database is subject to criminal penalty not exceeding $250,000. And then it goes on to talk about the criminal index system. I just wanted to open with that because there were a couple other things that came in conjunction with this when I was looking at it. And one of them that I think you guys are going to find is pretty interesting is there's a, Meg showed me that there is actually a Netflix special, which I'm going to check out and report back to you. But I'm trying to pull it up. Hold on. There we go. So Meg brought up this Netflix special, which I'm going to check out and report back to you because I've heard a few different stories regarding touch DNA and some of the controversy. But this is an episode on Netflix that's solely devoted to this subject. And it's called Exhibit A. And it's a few years old, but these are true crime stories show how innocent people have been convicted with dubious forensic techniques and tools such as touch DNA and cadaver dogs. So with that said, I'm setting all of this up to read you an article. This article came out on October 26th, so it's pretty fresh information, but I have other pieces of literature, one from Forbes that was sent to me by Meg, and a couple other ones here that back this up. But this is the one that Yoli Law had, that was shared by Yoli Law on Heather's Fitzgerald's page. So let's go ahead and read this article together. And I think the title itself is gonna put chills down your spine. Okay, so this one is called Forensic DNA Analysis is Less Accurate for Some People. University of Oregon study finds. Actually, I'm going to read you both articles I've decided. So Portland, Oregon. A new study led by researchers from the University of Oregon dug into limitations of forensic tool used in crime sciences. Hold on a second. I just want to make sure my camera was off. Discovering one way that people may be incorrectly linked to a crime. According to the study published September 18th in the Journal of iScience, forensic DNA analysis is less accurate among people with low genetic diversity. In those cases, forensic DNA analysis is more likely to incorrectly link an innocent person to a crime, the researcher said. Modern DNA analysis techniques are extremely sensitive. The researcher explained, in some cases, scientists gather trace amounts of DNA from shed skin cells to match the DNA to a person. But that technique also means that scientists are often looking for mixtures containing DNA from different people, such as everyone in a home who recently touched a door handle, researchers explained. Even though scientists can look at a variation of genetic markers in a sample and compare it to the suspect's DNA, the study found some limitations. University of Oregon data scientists and lead researcher Rory Rolfs and a team of undergraduate researchers at San Francisco State University wanted to see how the accuracy of this approach is impacted by genetic ancestry. The researchers looked at various published genetic databases to see the frequency of certain genetic variations for a group of people with different genetic ancestry. Then researchers used a forensic analysis software to create profiles of the individuals along with mixtures of DNA representing groups of people from different genetic backgrounds. Mixtures with lower genetic diversity were more likely to have false positive results or incorrectly link some DNA mixture who hasn't been involved. Some groups that might also have less genetic diversity included Indigenous, Latin, or Pacific Islander groups, researchers said. The accuracy of DNA mixture analysis really varies by the genetic ancestry, Wolfs said. Groups with less diverse genetic variants are going to have a higher false inclusive rates of DNA mixture analysis. And this gets worse when you have more contributors. Researchers said the study included the use of stimulated genetic mixtures from complex databases. So they cannot specifically say the forensic technique is less accurate for certain ancestral groups. Rolfs added that the traditional race and ethnicity labels are often overlaid broad and do not always accurately map genetic ancestry. And you know why that is? I'm just going to interject myself because one thing I know about genetic testing that's always bugged me is one of the ways, they're not like looking at your genes and saying, oh, these genes look like they're from, you know, Russia. I'll just bring that up because we were just talking about Russia. That's not how my understanding of it works. They have a group of test people from an area and they literally draw their maps like that. There's not, anyway, let me keep reading from the expert. She noted this research also shows challenges conducting ethnic genetic research, added that many studies her team analyzed did not necessarily practice informed consent when collecting people's DNA, with some samples coming from incarcerated people. This study, Rolf said, only included data from people that were informed consent was verified, which limited the data pool. So that's a really interesting brand new article that just came out. When I started setting this up and I said I had an article that was going to kind of scare you, what I was talking about was this. So again, this one came from Meg. Thank you, Meg. And this is from Forbes. And this one is called Framed by Your Own Cells, How DNA Evidence Imprisons the Innocent. This is petrifying. Oh, let me make sure you guys can see that. I can't see this. Modern technologies can now detect and analyze DNA from samples comprised of only 16 cells. But due to the touch transfer properties of DNA, determining how these cells reach the surface on which they were found is impossible. Tiny amounts of touch transfer DNA now have placed people in locations they have never visited and implicated people in crimes they did not commit. Forensic technologies dedicated and analyzing DNA evidence have been at the forefront of criminal investigations. Scientists have told us that the perpetrators of the crime will leave traces of DNA at the crime scene. And if found, and even in a small amounts, the evidence can be used to identify the perpetrator. Finding the suspect's DNA at a crime scene, on a victim, or on a small piece of evidence is consistently used by law enforcement to place a suspect at the scene of the crime, with the victim or the contact with a relevant piece of evidence. Prosecutors have been representing DNA evidence as superior to all other types of identifying evidence. However, Research conducted at the University of Indianapolis shows that the detection of DNA does not actually indicate the presence or contact. In fact, it may not narrow the scope of investigation at all. And I want to pause there because that's kind of like, you guys, isn't that kind of contrary to what we've heard? Like, didn't you, I mean, I'm not obviously contradicting a scientist, but didn't you always hear that like there had to be friction, right? There has to be friction to transfer the touch DNA, but that's saying no. I don't know. Let's read on. This is because humans shed DNA consistently and shed DNA transfers freely between people and objects. DNA can be transferred through a handshake or touching an inanimate object like a doorknob. Every time you shake someone's hand, you might receive some of their acquaintances' DNA and that of other people whose DNA had come into contact with your acquaintance's hand. Scientists refer to the phenomenon as secondary transfer DNA, while journalists have been using the term touch DNA. I will use a more global term, touch transfer DNA, to describe DNA transferring easily through contact or touch. Imagine a man waiting in a restaurant for a business associate. His business associate opens the restaurant door and then walks over to the man and shakes the man's hand with the same hand the associate used to open the restaurant door. The man has now received the DNA transfer of the associate's hand, and the DNA of the associate's hand picked up on the restaurant door handle. If we were to swab the man's hand for DNA, we might find the man's DNA, his associate's DNA, the DNA of a few other unknown people who touched the door handle of the residence and whose DNA stuck around. People who the man never touched, the DNA of these other people transferred to the man's hand through the touch transfer properties of DNA. Similarly, a person identified by a matched DNA discovered at a crime scene may have never come into contact with the object or the person of the DNA of which the DNA is found. Yet modern day high-tech CSI investigations do not account for the possibility that the evidence discovered at a crime scene was deposited via touch transfer. When DNA detection capabilities emerged in the 1980s, forensic technologies had a much lower sensitivity and required large visible samples of DNA for DNA analysis. Over the past decade, forensics technologies used by law enforcement have become so highly sensitive that the quantum of DNA required for analysis has become very low. Samples of DNA may now be visible and so low in size and quality, I thought they were going to say quantity, quality, that older forensic equipment would not have been able to detect the DNA. Samples entirely visible to the human eye. Only a sample of about 16 cells is required for modern equipment to analyze DNA within. Compare this to the tens of thousands of skin cells that we shed every day. The concept of obtaining and identifying information from tiny bits of touch DNA transfer was the first discovery by the Australian scientists and published in 1997 under the title DNA Fingerprints from Fingerprints. The scientists discovered that tiny bits of DNA would be transferred through touch, together with the fingerprint markers, allowing for the collection and analysis of DNA from fingerprints left behind from culprits. Practical utility in the criminal justice world require for the emergence of more sensitive technologies to detect I can't say that. Infinitesimal, I think, bit of evidence. Frickin' Forbes. Such equipment began appearing in the forensic laboratories over the last 15 years, but law enforcement did not limit their search for touch transfer DNA to just fingerprints. Instead, they expanded the search for touch transfer DNA to all object surfaces, irrespective of their availability to find and identify evidence connected to the DNA, such as a fingerprint. And before I keep reading, I just wanted to take a look at the chat. I have a quick soundbite I do want to play for you guys, though. I'm going to pull that up now. So one of my, okay. This is like, I believe this is a really fascinating, this is a really fascinating, I don't know, can you guys see that? Can you guys see that on the screen? Let me play this for you. I'm hoping you can see that. This is the interview room. And this talks about the sheath DNA. This talks about the sheath and some inside information. Why isn't it? Oh, I'm clicking on the wrong page. That's why. What the heck? I don't know why I can't hit play. This is weird. Yeah, I'm just going to have to share my Discord. All right, let me just share my Discord, you guys. You can't see it? Okay. That's okay. You guys can just take a look at my server here. Oh, I'm X'd out of it. Hold on. I didn't realize my face was up there. I feel so embarrassed. Hold on. Just like staring at the screen. Hold on. There we go. All right, present. So this was sent to me by my subscriber, Lucky. Come on.
Probable, but even if he unsnapped it and he had gloves on, he carried that knife. He had that knife. That knife sheath was on his person, and that DNA was on it because it belonged to him or his father.
It could have been from long ago, even well before the offense.
It didn't look like a brand new knife sheath to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so you have to make that. You have to kind of be a little logical here.
Yeah.
Okay, so my question, it sounds like, and I hope you guys could see that. So she's saying it didn't look like a new knife sheath to her. I don't know how she knows that. Did she see like crime scene evidence? But I do think that changes things. And one of the things we talked about yesterday is, I don't know if it's called the Quad City Task. I don't know what it's called, but there are different military bases in that area. So I saw one for Navy SEALs. I saw one for Army National Guard. And there's probably, my guess, a ton of trade shows over there. So it's just back to the origins of this knife sheath. After I brought it up the other day, a lot of people brought up some of the old rumors. There were some solid leads that people talked about for a while, such as the Amazon gift card lead and all the Amazon search warrants, but we really know nothing. It could come from anywhere. I just want to show that to you. So that is the conclusion of my DNA presentation today. And I do have a really interesting story, which I think is probably going to be the most interesting to you today. I'm actually broke this story into two pieces. So I'm going to do two more stories for you. So if I had to summarize this next story, and I got this because I had this video that just did really well, and it was regarding some inaccuracies in the DNA. Oh, my camera is so glitchy. What is the deal? But more specifically, discrepancies about Nevada Street. So if I were to summarize this next segment into 3 words, it would be confusion about Nevada Street. And I'm just going to play for you this segment. We're going to set. Sorry. Am I muted? I'm going to read the PCA to you. So I'm going to set this up properly. We're going to do a proper segment on this. Let me just pull up the PCA. It's a one paragraph I'm reading you, but we want to put this into context before we go blabbing about it. Or I want to put it into context before I go blabbing about it. Okay, I got the affidavit pulled up. Let me share my screen with you. And if I remember correctly, I think this is on page 7. Yeah, right here. Okay. Let me go ahead and make that full screen so I can read along to you, and then we're going to talk about this because a few people wanted to bring up some points to me. Investigators were given access to a video footage on Washington State University WSU campus located in Pullman, Washington. A review of video indicated that at approximately 2:44 a.m. on November 13th, 2022, a white sedan, which is consistent with the description of the white Elantra known as Suspect Vehicle 1, was observed on WSU surveillance cameras traveling north on Southeast Nevada Street on Northeast Stadium Way. At approximately 2:53 a.m., the white sedan, which is consistent with the description of the white Elantra known as Suspect Vehicle 1, was observed traveling southeast on Nevada Street in Pullman, Washington, towards SR 270. SR 270 connects to Pullman, Washington, Moscow, Idaho. The camera footage from Pullman, Washington was provided by the FBI forensic examiner. The forensic examiner identified the vehicle observed in Pullman, Washington as being a 2014 to 2016 Hyundai Elantra. So the reason why I'm talking about this now all came back to a comment somebody left me. And speaking of comments, I'm going to get to all of your comments in a second. Thank you for your patience. But get this video pulled up. So if you want to watch this video for yourself, it did really well. I think it has like maybe 11 or 1,000 views on it in the last couple of days. But this was a comment left by one of my subscribers that sparked all of this. So let me show you. I think you'll be interested in what this subscriber has to say because it interested me when they said it. And I just want to know what you guys have to think about it. So let me show you this first. So this is the Washington State University we're focusing on right now. And this is Steptoe Apartments. What? So this comment was left by Under Alliance 2023. Steptoe Apartments to corner of Nevada Street and Stadium Way from Google Maps, quickest route takes 5 minutes. How did BK do it in 2 minutes? 2:42 a.m. to 2:44 a.m. In the PCA, Ellie states that BK leaves the apartments at 2:42 a.m. At 2:44 a.m. on 2:44 a.m. 2013, and I think he meant to say, I don't know what he meant to say there. 2016 white Elantra, BK's car is captured on a traffic camera in Pullman in the intersection of Nevada Street and Stadium Way. The only time in Pullman, his car is captured on a traffic camera. That's a total lie. And of course, this is all speculation. So you know what? Let me throw up the speculation banner because we're just, trying to answer questions here, not trying to make accusations. The quickest way from Steptoe Apartments to the intersection is 5 minutes. Four traffic cameras alone along the route and 2 other alternative routes are 7 minutes and 9 minutes. 3 traffic cameras and 2 traffic cameras. So 2:42 a.m. leaves his apartment. 2:44 a.m. captured on the traffic camera on Nevada Street. And I'm cutting the rest of it off. 2 minutes. So before anything, I'm just taking it to the chat just to see if you guys had any initial reactions to that because I don't know if you guys had seen that before. So I just want to know what you guys make of this. Now, I'm going to stop there because I'm going to get into another point in the next segment that we're going to get into that video. But what's fascinating are the brains that came out for this video. And the brainiacs have left amazing comments, and it's time for me to read a few of them to you because they just go well so well with the video and supplement what I'm talking about. So this is from Thomas. I am at my offices and hold on a second. I was at my offices and was unable to fully express my comments. Mrs. Rhodes, Corporal Payne gives 3 alternative routes for Brian Kohlberger leaving the crime scene. One route doesn't even exist, and there is no Johnson Road. Johnson Ave, yes, but no Johnson Road. 2 matters bother me. First, warrants were issued from this PCA. The judges were deceived. Finally, I expect Ann Taylor to proceed with filing for a Franks hearing once a change of venue is granted. This case should never go to trial. By the way, there's no CAS report, only a draft of CAS report. And what I think is nice, what I think is really smart about this comment is everything that Thomas states, and it's so straight to the point and brief. He's bringing up things we've all heard in court. And just to point out a few of them that aren't just him talking, things that we've heard in trial is no CAS report, only draft. Well, we heard that in Cyray's testimony. We heard Ann say the Franks hearings were going to be coming. And then in the PCA, he's not just making this up. It says Johnson Ave and Johnson Road seem to be a mistake. And Viviana says Johnson Road equals Johnson Ave. In city limits, it's Ave. In county, it's road. Same road. You might have commented that too. I didn't get down to the rest of the comments because there were replies to that. Oh, she did. Okay, so let's go to the replies. K-Faye says, I don't know that all cameras were in sync with the time and BK possibly driving very fast with minimal traffic at that time. So I have an unverified source for this, but WSU Mom Kim says her son has tried doing that route in 5 minutes. So she says she's tried doing it in 5 minutes and she can't. I just wanted to add that because I don't think we have that comment here. There was another one down here that I thought, there was another one where somebody points out that we're not quite sure what direction he's caught on camera. All right. We'll finish this comment and then we'll get to our next segment, which is about Brian Kohlberger's phone number. I think most people in here already explained it, but I'd like to know who said it takes 5 minutes for the drive. Was it Google Maps they used? And did they check the traffic time during the day? Did they check at 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. when the car was actually on the road? Did they take it into account the changing on the timing of the stoplights and him speeding? I don't know about the phone numbers, but maybe he used an app that had a service that gives him phone users new and unused numbers so that they don't get your real info. And how do you feel about the psychic that lied and got sued for defamation? Did you believe her from the start, or do you believe her even with all the evidence against her? No evidence. That's because I know Ashley Guillory. Because I'm just curious on your thoughts. I never believed her, but I did get report on misinformation about her. So I had to do a redaction on Ashley, and I still apologized for some of the misaccurate representation on her reporting, in case she's watching. My apologies. And then Suzanne Hunter says, you are perhaps missing the obvious here, which is that it wasn't his apartments at 242 in the first place. Why? Ann Taylor has already conceded that he left his apartments in the late night hours of November 12th. Yet the PCA makes no mention of this. Why? Because he was likely separated from his 8458 cell phone, which could not corroborate any of his earlier movements. Because Jay Lodson has already told us that the FBI was heavily reliant upon the sighting of the white sedan on Ridge at the wrong time, which most would agree would have to be outside of 3:30 a.m. to 4:20 a.m. window. Because Ellie deliberately gave out the wrong time, the girls arrived home at 1:45, knowing only the private driver or the perp would have known this information was wrong, which is strongly indicative of the suspect perp having been near the house at the time arrived home. Because Cy raised comments about mapping only 18% of the network connections between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. strongly suggested the cell phone was stationary in his apartment from 2 a.m. to 2:47. You don't exactly need to map each and every network data connection if they are all consecutively in the same place. Now, I'm a little confused by that point number 4. So what I would say is you would definitely have, like, they would know by the metadata if the phone was definitely stationary. I don't know, though, if that verbiage actually indicates that. I'm just giving you guys reactions. And this is the last one before I move on to the next segment. And I promise I'm going to get to the chat. Because at 2:44 a.m., sighting on Nevada Street was the only sighting of suspect vehicle 1 that could and should have been corroborated with the defendant's cell phone movements in the PCA, but specifically wasn't. Conclusion. At 2:44 a.m., he was driving north on Nevada Street, cutting across campus to recover his cell phone from his apartment for specific purposes of establishing later alibi, and upon receiving it, immediately switched it off at 2:47. And I'm not going to read the reply to that, but I don't know. I thought, just to give balance, I'd come back and read this take on it and what this person thinks. I'd love to know what the chat thinks. It's interesting. Sometimes you guys pick up on little details and debunk things for me. Oh God, I don't know what you deleted, but trust me, sarcasm is fine. I have a very dry sense of humor, so I'm forgiven. Wait, if it were you, I wouldn't use her as a source if she's given misinformation in the past. I don't know who we're talking about. Sorry, I shouldn't have displayed that. Anyway, I think that we'll end this segment here, because for the last segment I wanted to bring up to you guys, we're going to bring up the same video, but we're going to play a different part. So the final segment we're going to do here, if I had to summarize it into a couple words, I would summarize it. If I had to summarize our next segment into 5 words, I would say, did Brian Kohlberger have a second phone? What do these oddities in the PCA mean? I mean, at first I thought there were errors in the PCA, but I've firmly come to believe that it was written intentionally. I don't think that work product had typos. I just don't. So you guys, what is this that I'm bringing up here? When we're talking about the car and how they tracked it in the PCA, I do have a couple of other questions. Let me show you something. So this is page 16 of the PCA, and this talks about the times where they capture the 8458 phone number in the PCA. And one of my mods, Too Fast for Fleas, brought up a really interesting point. Well, actually, let me backtrack a little bit. First, I'm gonna talk to you about, let's see. So think of it like this. It would throw, let's see. The 8458 number wasn't found until the data dump, right? So maybe they didn't find him in, like Bloom was saying, until the 29th.
That's when he said they found the 8458 number and a collection of numbers they had. And I'm not giving Bloom any credibility, but he did have sources within the FBI. This is weird. So this is a mistypo right here. It's all these are 8458 numbers, and this one, as pointed out by my mod, is 8548. So is that a typo? Was that another phone number in the data dump? Is there multiple phone numbers? So I did have that exact quote. Let me just find it. My nails are like atrociously long today.
Yeah,
And
Wonka.
I'm like having trouble navigating my phone.
Tonka wants me to put a
I
clean
wanted to look nice on camera with the new mic document up.
Oh, actually, I think I have downloaded. Hold on.
Local law enforcement reportedly stated that they were looking for a 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra and then changed to a 2015 model based on the photo of similar vehicle headed the wrong way. And I think that's why people are pointing this out to us. So they're saying, is there two different phone numbers we're looking at? Are we looking at two different captured vehicles?
Let me present this. So Tonka wanted to see the document, page 16 of the PCA. So as you can see in this second paragraph, let me see if I can point with my cursor. I can't. But anyway, in the second paragraph, you can see where it's highlighted 8458, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And then down here, the 6th time, 8548. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think that the police made a mistake? Do you think they made typos? If that's a typo, then I guess suspect video would be wrong. But I mean, it just seems that they would have done that deliberately. And I have heard rumors of second phone number. And I had 2 people in my chat talking about this earlier. If they had been able to provide the phone number, I was going to present it to you. But one of them is actually a subscriber who I've spoke with for well over 8 months to a year now. So I do like her information. And she was talking back and forth with this woman, and they have this second number, and they've reverse traced it to BK. So allegedly, there is a second phone number. I don't know what it is. If you have any info on that in the chat, that would be great. And I mean, I do have one more story I could present to you guys, since we do have like 100 people watching. What do you got, Kane? I can't. I have to go to YouTube to follow. Oh yeah. Oh, here. Tonka, thank you for backing me up. So I don't need to rely on those comments because Tonka says they've said it twice in open hearing. Oh, my email. Okay, hold on. Thank you, Kane. Kane is helping me produce the show today. Oh, here we go. Okay, you guys. Okay, let me, Kane, you've got to give me a timestamp on that. But while Kane is getting a timestamp, I'm going to play his introduction because I think you guys will enjoy it. Who doesn't love a little Kane be purged? Where the heck is it?
Here, I specialize in the education and entertainment of entertainment of entertainment of entertainment of
That is the
entertainment of
timestamp.
entertainment of entertainment of entertainment of entertainment of entertainment of entertainment of entertainment. Candy and the sun. You make me a woman. Showtime. I know you're used to
Hold on.
Lucy, but I run daggers for you, daggers for you. I know you're used to Lucy, but I run. Go pump, pump, pump some neurons. I know you're used to Lucy. Dinner, dinner, dinner. Such a sham, such a sham. I know you're used to Lucy, but I run.
I can't find it. Kane, can you please give me the timestamp?
Surprise. Hip hop, bebop. Dance till you drop. Hip hop, bebop doesn't mean that they don't love. Hip hop, bebop, bop, bop, bop. Dance till you drop. Hip hop, bebop. Just a little bit of nicotine. The sun. Just a little bit of nicotine. Cream in your sugar now. Little bit of nicotine doesn't mean that they don't love you.
Should've never had a birthday party. Should've never had a birthday party. Should've never had a birthday party.
All right. Kane, I'm trying to look through to see if I can figure out where it is. I don't want to miss this opportunity to show you guys the, Kane, you're going to have to send me the times. Okay, 1:45. Here we go, you guys. We're cooking with some fuel now. All right, so let's finish off this segment by learning a little bit more about Stickergate, and this pertains to specifically to Christchurch. Thank you, Kane, for doing that for us. We really appreciate it.
Okay. Let me share my screen.
Oh, we got Trisha.
I don't even know what we're watching, but okay. What are we? What the hell is going on here?
The first thing you should do is on three, say Merry Christmas. 1, 2, 3. Merry Christmas! The second thing is let's move across the street around the fountain.
So I'm going to just, while this is going, I think what I'm witnessing here is what I cut out of that video that I had is interrupted. During Stickergate, part of it was their protest to the pandemic, and they would stand close together instead of standing in their little circles. They do these flash solemn things, and then there was the Stickergate part of it. If I can freaking find it, pause it. The Stickergate part of it, which I didn't explain in my video, is essentially this. Part of political campaigns is you cannot create your campaign slogan into a sticker. So you're not supposed to make, like, we're not watching our presidential candidates making their stuff into stickers. You might see buttons or different things, but stickers are not permitted. And I don't know the reasoning behind that. Maybe because they can damage property, maybe because children might get influenced, like propaganda, I don't know. But stickers aren't allowed in political campaigns. So hence the Stickergate with the sickle and skull and sickle and hammer and everything. I don't know if that helped you guys with the segment, but I just felt like talking. The point being, one of the verified interviews that I've listened to, one of the few people who was willing to go on the record, basically said what was so outrageous when she found out it was him was, you know, criminology 101. He is the teacher's assistant in this class. The two most important things are alibi and cell phone forensics. So it was baffling, like what Dean is saying. He takes his phone and car to unalive 4 people. He's an excellent criminology student. Make it make sense. Yeah, Kane, why don't you come up and explain? I have no idea what's going on. And then when Kane gets up here, you guys, not only are we going to finish explaining Stickergate, but I'm going to keep Kane up here, and I'm going to throw in one last segment and get Kane's reaction to it. That I think will be interesting. Here. Trisha, excellent live stream. I want to hear what could Bethany's exculpatory evidence be? I'm just glad you're bringing it up, Tony. I mean, these are the questions that I have. Thank you, Kane, for getting here. Hi, Kane.
Hi, can you see me?
Oh, what happened?
Let me meet you on here. Okay. I can't see myself. Is there, because there's a delay? Oh, there I am. No?
Hold on, let me take down this comment. Maybe that's the problem. There you are, darling. Thank you for joining me.
Oh, I'm black. I'm a blank screen.
What's going on?
I don't know. Anyway, that's fine. Okay, so is my camera?
There we go. Oh, I love your backdrop. That's amazing.
Well, that's the healing garden. I get all wonky with the let me check my audio. With the video on StreamYard, I don't know why. Yeah, okay, everything's good. So that video came to my attention from Bubbly Waters.
Okay.
Because I was, if you go a little bit, before 145, I don't know if you've seen that interview or not, with Chief Fry, and it was basically a political ad for his sheriff run, right? And so it's just like 144, 143 around there. And so I was watching the video, and you really don't need to hear it. I did a whole thing on it, and so did Bubs, but that guy on the right is Aiden Anderson. Okay? He does like a canned interview in this peaceful little garden over there, somewhere in Moscow, whatever, it's probably the university somewhere. And I said, well, okay, who is this Aiden Anderson guy? Why does this kid get to interview Chief Fry for this? And what it turns out is he is a member of the Christ Church. And so I said, well, when lawyers do depositions and politicians do ads and stuff like that, they tend to find somebody they trust. They always I'm frozen in time right now.
I don't know why it's so glitchy. Yeah.
That might be my camera. My camera sucks. I gotta get a new camera. It's literally like one of those dashboard cameras. Anyway, so okay, that was better. There we go.
Oh, you got Meg P up there?
Have I Meg? I didn't do that.
Is that Meg P? I think it is.
Oh, she's probably in my camera. Watch. That's funny. That's fine because she's prettier than I am anyway. But okay, so Aiden Anderson is the kid on the right, and it turns out that he has a YouTube channel. And but I have my shirt on, don't I? I have it on backwards, though. I feel like you ever have one of those days where you just got such a big belly that you feel like your shirt's on backwards. Anyway, not you, but anyway, Aiden Anderson, it turns out, has a YouTube page, and he does the videos for county commissioners, the mayor. I'm not sure the mayor, just local politicians, and so I went to his page, and the first thing I saw was that Stickergate thing. Oh, my mic's all the way over here. Can you hear me better now?
Yes. Much
Sorry,
clearer.
Could you hear me before or no?
No, I can hear you clearly before, but this is interesting.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I found it extremely insightful, actually. The interview itself, I believe that Fry just needs to scrub that. He comes off as so what do you call it? Well, that he's very much climbing the ivory tower and wants to be in control. You could just tell he's that way. And so I said, okay, well, this kid that he's using is a trusted videographer that all the politicians use, that all the right conservative side seems to use, and let's check out his page. So the first video I played was the Stickergate thing that you just played, and you saw the stuff that they were doing, where they're like giving the Ungats thing and all the dirty. That's the townspeople, okay? I found that first, and I only played like 3 minutes of it because I'd done like a 12-hour live or something, right? And so I was dead tired, and then so I was gonna play it the next day, and on my show or whatever. And so I did the show. I go to pull up the video, and it's deleted. So I'm like, why would they delete that? Because I've done a couple shows on the Christ Church before. And when I don't hear your reactions, Kiki, I get a little nervous sometimes.
I'm muted. I was muted. I said, oh my God. I was saying, oh my God.
Whenever I mute my mic, I said I'm pulling a Kiki. All right. Yeah. So anyway, so where was I? He had that video and I went to play. It was deleted. And I'm like, that's it, because I've done a couple videos on the Christ Church. So I can only imagine that they maybe are keeping an eye on me. And so they, why would that video's been up forever? Why did they automatically delete it then? And so I luckily had Trish play it. We were having a fool around chat with Twiz, and it was late at night, and we were just joking around in chat. And I said, "I'll play this video," and she did. That's the only reason that I have it. Okay, and if you want to play the Stickergate with mute in the background, that'd be cool, because I could show you a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me hit the mute button and hit play. And I will say, just as a reaction to what you're telling me. Just knowing, like, I could know if somebody viewed my video. I mean, I'm sure they have tons of views on this video, but what would compel them to take it down? I would say, I mean, just by reasonable deduction, maybe it was your commentary. Like you said, maybe they are watching your channel. So, because that is strange. They take it down right after that, after it's been up for this long. I mean, that was what, 2020 or around? Oh, I guess this would be. If he was running for chief, then this would be in the last year then. I don't know. But let me hit play. I just want to give you an immediate reaction.
Thank you. Yeah, no, so that was taken down, and thankfully she had it. That's why I play it all the way through in the beginning. And as you're going to see here in a minute, it's you can probably put it on 2x speed.
Okay, I was just looking for your.
Sorry, yeah, because when you see her go to full screen, then that's when it comes up, like at 144.
All right, let me put it on full speed, and I'm going to get a banner.
I just wanted to show you. This is you might want to yourself. Sorry to interrupt you. You might want to check out this video also, and I'll send you a link to that. It's about 30 minutes long. So maybe you might want to use it on a upcoming show or something like that. But it's very telling, I feel. And so anyway, I go to his page, and then so I said, is he a member of the Christ Church? And so what I gathered from it was that is Fry a member of the Christ Church, and is this a connection between the two entities? And here you have, on the one hand, a power-hungry church, which literally has a constitution. Slow it down, probably right here. Thank you. That says they want to take over. I don't know why I'm only half up.
I'll take my comment.
No, it was my favorite. Thank you. What did I say?
You were saying, you're just saying that the church had its own constitution, and
they do, right? And sorry, thank you. And which literally says that they want to take over the government of Moscow and Idaho and so on and so forth. Like literally, I believe it says of the world in the end. And they want to change the world, which as a religious organization, typically you would say, oh, that's a noble intention. I don't know a lot of churches that literally have declared constitutions. And a lot of people have, in their opinion, used the phrase cult to describe this church. They definitely had their share of scandals with him, Doug Wilson, marrying a parishioner who was, I think the girl was very young. I don't know if she was underage, but they had a baby together, and he wasn't allowed to see the baby, the parishioner, because he admitted that he had feelings for the infant.
What?
Correct. And that was one of the scandals. There's several. They're in my show. Now, you guys, you look at my shows and you say, oh, man, I can't watch somebody for 8 minutes, let alone 3 hours, 6 hours, 9 hours. But I promise you that almost every minute of my shows are fun and great stuff to have while you're doing the dishes in the background. I try to keep it interesting. And the chat is just like unbelievable. Everybody that's in here now, you come in there, it's a blast. We have a lot of fun. Even Viv's in there. And so, excuse me. You have a connection between now that organization, which has a very hungry power appetite, and then you have, and you'll see it when you get a chance, or if you want to play parts of it. Bubs and I had different reactions, all kinds of reactions to that video, and I don't think it's serving him well. The Chief Fry Sheriff interview. Which is right before this. Then you have somebody who my takeaway from that interview was that Chief Fry is also very. No, wait, stop it right there. If you haven't changed yet, that was fine. That clock is a Masonic clock that is Aiden Anderson's logo. Okay, they say they actually sell Masonic clocks, Mm-hmm. And when I saw it there, I said, I've seen that somewhere before. Why should I know that? Now, I'll play a little bit further in this video and stop on these guys that are doing one of these things.
These guys?
Just let it play for another moment. See, my point was, okay, keep playing a little bit longer. You'll see a guy come out of the business and give him the business. You know what I'm saying? And in just a second here, watch. Anyway, on the clock is a Masonic clock. And I'm like, where have I seen that before? That is, look right there. You see the guy looking through the window?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so it's all the windows. Okay, and I'll get back to that. Here, right here, this guy right there. You see it? Mm-hmm. That's a very foul language movement. It's Italian. I won't say what it means, but it's offensive.
I did just say what it I think I mumbled it too.
Well, it's on you. And so that is how I was excited. I was excited to find it because we always talk about how there's a great divide in Moscow. Oh, the right and the left, and the college and the church, and the no. This goes a little further, I feel, to explain how thick it is, how bad it is.
The hostility, the animosity, yeah.
And you see the people watching out the windows, and at the end of that little caroling thing, I think he stopped right before it. One of the pastors comes up to the camera and says, "We love them up there." So he's talking about, I guess, people are shouting stuff down from the window. Now, if Aiden Anderson, who this video is from, was see, they're yelling stuff. I mean, they hate him. There's hate. There's a lot of hatred there. Okay. Now, my point was with this video, I'll pause it and get ready to pause just a sec here because the clock's coming up. Right. Well, you can't see it there yet. That's the guys who talk to the camera. Hold on, wait. We'll see it in a second. Okay, so if Aiden Anderson was hired, this is his video, by the way. I know I already said that. But if he was hired to film the caroling, which is supposed to be spreading joy at Christmas, and I don't know if he was paid or if he just volunteered for the church, he failed at his job. He's not getting good audio. He's not showing any scenes of happy carolers singing, right? There he is. We love them up there. You see? See?
Yeah, why is this glitching? Hold on.
No, that's the video. He took it it's a slow shutter speed.
Okay.
But you can see that guy. He comes up to the camera. He says, "Yeah, we love them up there," because they're using foul language, yelling at them. So my point was, if Aiden Anderson was hired or volunteered to film this caroling thing, this protest, this is basically what this is a protest. And if he was hired to do that, yes, thank you. Tincel TQ, exactamundo. I live in Clearwater, Florida. The Scientologists have the same tactics. Exactly. They will harass you. Okay, so this is a protest, and they're trying to act. There, stop right there if you can. Oh, one back. My bad. Actually, you can keep playing because it comes up better. It comes up better in a second anyway. But you look for the clock, hon. I'm sorry. So, okay, so Aiden Anderson was hired to film this caroling, which is clearly not caroling, and he's failing at his job. This is just a whole disorganized, messy protest to piss the other side off. Okay, and so that's all. Just basically that. Okay, so when they say Merry Christmas back to the people yelling F you and expletive at them, they say back Merry Christmas, which is basically saying the same thing back to you. Because we know Doug Wilson ain't afraid of nobody, right? You've seen the No Quarter November and this and that, right?
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
So they have their own.
When I saw No Quarter November, that was some good TV.
I tell you, it'd be interesting to watch if it wasn't reality. That looks like something you'd more see on the Dead Walking or whatever, one of those shows. You know what I mean? And so basically now what we're showing, and if you haven't been watching that channel, you'll see that within the Scientologists, clearly, the Masons, the LDS Church, the Latter-day Saints, the Mormons, within the Freemasons, they all have levels, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what they do is they bring you in, and the church is the exactly same way. This is called the Church of Christ. And what's the date on this? This is December 5th, 2021. Okay? So this is right in the middle of COVID. They're out there. They're not only protesting the masks, right? They're protesting against, and you see the clock behind them.
Mm-hmm.
And you can only have to see it. That is a Masonic clock. That is the town square clock. That is what Aiden Anderson uses on his page. And also, It's the symbol for the county, the city commissioners of the town I found. And so anyway, I'm jumping all around. The things that you have in all the various secret organizations, we can agree that these are pretty secretive organizations, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so you have different levels to attain, and what they do is they put on this pretty face. We're the Shriners, we're the Masons, we do all these great things for kids. And I find that the prettier the face, except for in your case, the more evil the mind. Okay.
Oh, that's charming.
And so what you have with that is as you go up the levels, you are sworn more and more to secrecy in these organizations. And I've even played Masonic rituals that show what they threaten if you reveal their secrets. They will cut out your tongue and slit your throat and all these things. And for the Masons, which has been the most secretive. Now, we don't know what goes on necessarily in Church of Christ. We know also, we've seen videos in my channel of the LDS Church, the Masons. And so this is all coming from Jen at Criminal Confidential and Bubbly Waters. I'm just the pretty face for the channel. So they're the brains behind the whole outfit. I'm telling you, if it hadn't been for them, we never would have led to this.
You spoke the spokesman.
Yeah, okay. I wanted to go with pretty face, but we don't have to agree. But anyway, so what you also have, which is more important to the levels of entrance, is the circle of trust. Like remember the Fockers, meet the parents.
Mm-hmm.
You had Jack with the circle of trust. Jack. Okay. The university is guilty of this now too. It appears that it's coming out, and I'll try to wrap it up here for you, so you can get on with your show. Sorry, I don't mean to hog your show, but so yeah, I had to put a shirt on. That's so funny. I think Magpie's like, put a shirt on, Kate. It's like, I better put a shirt on. I'm gonna be on Swamp Show.
Oh, thank you for dressing up for the occasion.
Yeah, no, I'm wiping my nose. Okay.
You guys, he lives in Florida. That kind of explains things if you don't know.
No, I'm just a fat slob, and I like to lay around without my shirt.
No negative self-talk.
So, most importantly, with these secret societies, you have the Masons, when they do a transaction. And so part of taking over a town and taking over a government is A, money, obviously, and B is dirt, right? B, dirt don't hurt. Dirt is number one, because the more real estate that you have, the more power you have, because now you have businesses, you have residents in that real estate, whatever it may be, apartments, storefronts, meeting halls, in movie theaters. That's where the Church of Christ is now headquartered, in the old classic movie theater, if you're not familiar. But anyway, that's on Main Street there in Moscow. Hey, what's up, Robert? How you doing, bro? Yeah. And so what you have in every transaction they do, Tiki, is the first thing is they have the notary, member of the Church of Christ. Second thing they have is the mortgage broker, member of the Church of Christ. Third one, insurance company, realtor, buyer, and seller.
Keep all the money in-house, right?
Not the money. The nefariousness, the shenanigans. And you wouldn't believe how much power that the Mormons have. They have so much money. They have 10 times more money in Florida alone than Disney itself. And that should give you an idea how much money they have. That's in Florida, and they're based out of Utah. Okay, so when you have transactions like that, and you have Chief Fry's wife, I believe, was the notary public on a lot of things, and she has a lot of power also. And that was part of the discussion in the interview that Chief Fry did was, is there a power struggle between your wife and you? As far as, does that ever become a problem? And he's like, no, she does her thing and I do mine. But they're both ladder climbing, ivory tower. He wants he wants control of everything, and nobody can tell him what to do once he's got it with the money. They can give him the money or they don't give him the money. He doesn't care. Once he has it, they can't tell him what to do. Okay? So you have both sides of the power. Now, when it comes down to how it relates to the university is doing the same thing with they allegedly made the bid, what was it, $685 million for Phoenix University, right? And so it's alleged that the other potential buyers for Phoenix University, which is a dumpster fire of a university, if you're not familiar with it, it's amazing that anybody bought it, let alone University of Idaho. They have more lawsuits on them than you would believe. But anyway, that the other bidders for the University of Phoenix were fake. They were made up to up the value of the, because if they bought it for $1 million, it'd probably go out of business. Anyway, so you following along so far?
I got tons to ask you when you.
Throw it out there. I don't want to leave anybody swirling.
Well, I mean, it brings up a couple things. So if we're backing up, the first thing that we brought up, along with a few other organizations, is somebody brought up the Church of Scientology, and when it comes to 501c3 nonprofits, which is how a church generally categorizes themselves. The problem is, I mean, I'm not saying there's a problem, but the problem that we've seen or I've witnessed, particularly with Scientology, is the way they house their money. So you can't have profit, but you also need to put the money somewhere. And what we've watched happen is the extraordinary amount of real estate that they purchase. And, every 10 years, every 20 years, you watch a piece of real estate double in value. And just thinking about the extraordinary wealth that these churches possess. And if it's a 501c3 nonprofit, then you have within your church structure those. I love when you do shit. So that's the first thing I would say is like it's an obvious issue, because like there's a town over here called Orleans. You're gonna make me. I'm not even gonna be able to talk straight. I need to turn off the camera. There's a town. I'll
play harmonica while you talk.
But like I've seen it, and then the other thing is you guys brought up the LDS church, and then as far as I know, the LDS church is the Mormon church, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
You're saying that they have the same type of real estate structure, how they house their money? Because you were saying in Florida they have more money than Disney. I've never heard that before, but I certainly would imagine this Church of Scientology, I could see them having it. So that's another interesting thing. Another thing I wanted to point out is that someone in the chat wanted us to make a distinction that we are talking about we're not talking about Christ's church. We're talking about the United. I'm sorry. What's the name of the church? I just want to make sure that we're distinguishing between.
We are talking about Christ Church. That's absolutely 100% talking about Christ Church.
We're not talking about the Church of Christ. We're talking about Christ's Church.
Christ Church in Moscow, and they have another location in Townsend or something like that, nearby town.
And then
run by Doug Wilson.
It is okay. And my dogs are like freaking out. The other thing I thought that was interesting you were bringing up is when you started bringing up the University of Arizona and you started talking about that transaction. What's also interesting is the way that both those entities can house their money and the tax structure they have. I mean, there's technically a nonprofit as well. And you think about these massive nonprofits taking up large portions of a town and eating them up, I can 100% see where the animosity comes in for the citizens that are living there. Because at what point, you know, you have a little house and it's an ideal piece of property for either of these large organizations. That house is never going to get passed down as a residence if it's worth so much to that church that they can gobble it up at an inflated price. And so it's just, it perpetuates itself where people end up selling like family farms or family houses because the inflated price is so high. You know, it's what people are willing to pay for it. And then just to bring everything back full circle, what we watched in that protest kind of brings my whole Papa Rogers segment kind of full circle, because the point I was getting at is that if it was a local who created Papa Rogers, they certainly were trying to use the symbolism of communism and Moscow. You know, they were trying to use the symbolism of communism. And it's obvious when you see the animosity there that that is the kind of smart ass campaign they probably would have came up with. So if it is Papa Rogers, very, very likely it was somebody who either wanted to make it look like it was connected to Stickergate or was actually connected to Stickergate. And now I will shut up and give the floor back to you.
No, that's very good. That's great. I'm glad you're adding a lot of good stuff. Yeah. So you have the correlation that I'm drawing here is the trying to get my nerds up there. You have the Constitution of the Christ Church for Doug Wilson, right? In Moscow, literally declaring that they want to take over Moscow. Then you have like the Scientologists, okay? And what, you know, it's amazing thing about the Scientologists is that they have these huge facilities, because what they do is they recruit very wealthy people from European countries like Sweden, and they'll have them to this fabulous facility that they have in Clearwater here, and they'll get them in the program, and they become part of this celebrity network kind of thing. They even have their own like award ceremonies with David Miscavige and all this stuff. And
this is Christchurch.
Right now, I'm referring to Scientology, but
Okay.
it's the same MO, Swamp. It's the same tactics all the way through all four of these organizations: Masons, the Mormon Church, the Church of Christ and Latter-day Saints, the Church of Christ, and the Mason. Did I say Masons already? You know what I mean. So anyway,
I'm bringing up some pictures. So people
with the Church of Scientology, I know for a fact that they have these huge temples, like that's the Mormons. They have huge temples also, and there are secret areas in there where they have the same in the Church of Latter-day Saints. Thanks to Jen at Criminal Confidential. Please check out her page if somebody wants to put a link in there for her and Heather Fitzgerald, my producer, and Jen, my star.
Let's see if I have
They
one.
have come up with stuff that you wouldn't believe. Now, okay, so the Church of Latter-day Saints is the Mormons. They have the same 33 level step system, and it gets really crazy. And of course, it's all just our opinions and speculation. But from what we've read and heard, it gets unbelievably satanic. They even, if you search for Church of Latter-day Saints satanic symbols on temples, you'll see, because they have Jesus, and they'll say, I'm here to tell you about Jesus. But it's the Mormon Jesus. It's a different Jesus. He is not the Son of God. He is his own God. It's a whole different thing. You can become a god in the Church of Latter-day Saints. Did you catch that last part I asked you?
To type in the LDS satanic symbols on outside of churches?
On temples, yes.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you wanted me to do that or not. Okay, hold on. Let me.
Yeah. Just to show you that it's right there for you to see. Now, like I said, the prettier the face, the more evil the intent. There's another thing that was a big deal that we brought up about, and that was Jen. The animal friends or whatever it is, friends of animals, and they are a shelter, and it's been the largest donated to shelter for animal rescue in the history of the world, right? And there it is right there in the middle, that one. Nope.
This one.
Over. Yep. That's on the church.
So that's a Star of David, but it's like not a Star of David. Like
the Star of David is the Hebrew symbol, and that's an 8-pointed star. This is a 5-pointed star, or 6-pointed star is the Star of David. This is a 5-pointed pentagram of Satan. This is what that is called, and they even call that themselves in the church, whether it's forward or reversed, whatever you want to do. That's what that is, and that's right there on their temple. They have it all over the place on their temples, and it's their own beliefs and their own system. And God bless them if this is all false. You know, like I said, this is all our opinion. But what we found is they have 33 levels. So with the Church of Scientology, what I was saying is they get these very wealthy people in, and they make them pay extraordinary amounts of money to take these classes to get clear. That's the point of Scientology, is to get clear. You want to they put you on an e-meter, which is like a magnetometer kind of thing. It reads your reactions to outrageous questions that they ask you. And so what the Church of Scientology has come down to is they have this like celebrity network. They have these wealthy people that are attracted to it by these celebrities. And so they have all this money, and it's tax-free, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they invest it in properties, and they own all of downtown Clearwater now, all of it. My whole city, downtown area anyway, is more or less gone. It belongs to them. And what they're doing across the country is they're building these large facilities like the flag headquarters that they have here, which are these big, high-tech, super expensive pieces of real estate temple properties that are sitting empty. There's no one there using it. There's no one there except for like the security guards. And they have the highest tech of everything. And it's totally empty because they have to spend a certain amount of money to be able to stay in their status of some sort, whatever. So they have a lower enrollment now, but their dollars are remaining the same. So they remain difficult to fight, and they're very adamant against their opponents, let's say. So anyway, so you have that's the Scientologists. The Masons and the LDS Church are very similar. And so what you have following, I believe it was just a couple days after, and Viv's going to get lit up on this one. That's okay, though. We like a difference of opinion, right? And so a couple days after, I don't have the documents in front of me, but all of the properties, or within a couple weeks, whatever it was, I forget my fact checking right now. I can pull up the document, but I'm not going to. They sold, was it 6 of the properties as one surrounding 1122, like 1112, 1118, or whatever it was, you know, and it was sold to Eagle Investments, I believe. And Eagle Investments is the company that's associated with Hitler in Ada County, the judge. And the crazy thing that Jen at Criminal Confidential found was the notary that signed it, and this is where Viv comes in, was named Lucifer Morning Star.
Who signed the deed?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, you don't hear that name every day.
And
Dang.
you you won't find it again either because it's been changed. What they do is they'll do transactions. If there's any kind of breadcrumb trail leading to that whatever entity that fouled up, they'll just change the name and it becomes a different LLC. You know how you can open like 1 million LLCs, right? And so they did that transaction right after the tragedy. And so it's very and so what I would say we're doing here at the Purge is with Jen and Heather, it's peeling apart the double helix of a DNA strand and trying to fill in the missing little dots. And I feel like we're getting closer and closer every time I have a show. That's why sometimes it's hard for me to stop broadcasting because they keep pulling up all this great stuff. People like Meg P and Rochelle, Woke Up 1984. Everybody in there has something to bring. Like, you know, Shaggy cracks everybody up the whole time. I mean, he's in there and he's the funniest guy on the damn planet. You know, and you got now we've added and I'm not getting sidetracked on my channel, but we've added Dawn at Divinations by Dawn or whatever.
I just met her this morning.
You met her? Oh,
yeah.
Lucky you.
Online.
And so we did a reading. We played a reading that she did for True Killer Crime. If you haven't seen her channel, it's excellent. But they're friends, I guess. And she did a reading on the Idaho4 for True Killer Crime that was unbelievable. And if you get a chance, it's in the next video after this one. Please check that out.
Definitely.
Watch it.
I
watch
have
it on her channel.
No, I definitely will, and we will definitely. We want you guys to also check out Dawn from Divination. She was awesome this morning when I was chatting with her, and I was thought of a couple things I wanted to bring up when you said that. So you said that this transaction. First off, there were a couple comments about Lucifer Morningstar, and Viviana says Lucifer Morningstar in Moscow actually has a social media page. I think that'll be nice to add to our archive. Okay, so you knew about that.
I did not know about the social media page. Thank you, Viviana. I was cracking on Viviana because when we were talking about it at another time, she said, "Oh, somebody's just a Marvel fan," because it's a Marvel character. I guess there is a TV show called Lucifer, and the guy's name is Lucifer Morningstar. I just thought that was pretty funny when she said that.
Who would make that into a cartoon character? It's so weird. Dansel's property, but Hitler hasn't worked for the law firm Eagle in years. I want to bring it just on the context of this comment and that thing you said. You said that the sale of the property happened right after the crime. And that brings up something that I wanted to bring up, which was, first off, I'm wondering when you say the sale of the house happened right after the crime, and I'm sure Jen could answer in the chat here. Are we talking about when the LLC changed, did it change because they were gifting the house to the university? Is that when it changed, or did it change before?
Well,
was there
the house itself was not included in that transaction. It was the 6 adjacent properties.
Oh, okay.
I believe that Jen can tell you. There it is. Jen will tell you. Follow Jen's.
Oh, right up here. I see
Jen's chats. Yeah, she has all the facts here. Thank you, Jen. And so she actually has a couple new videos you guys definitely want to check out. They are mind blowers. But anyway, so I believe that the property was gifted to the university 1122 or 1122. But we're talking about the adjacent properties that I believed were owned by the same company or whatever as the adjacent properties. So that house just wasn't sold at that time. It may have been a panic sale, like, oh my gosh, this terrible thing happened. Nobody's going to want to live there anymore. Maybe they did it that way. I don't know. But it's just a very interesting little, like I said, little tiny pieces of that DNA strand. And we're going to get to the truth here. One
Well,
way or the other.
I have something to add to your little theory there that might put a few pieces of the puzzle together. So I worked on a story about a year ago. I would say probably like 8 months ago now, and this is just reminding me of some of the things I brought up in that. The first one was the transition of the house to the university, which gave the sole, unless legally intervened, the sole discrepancy whether to let the house stand or let the house fall, then went on to the university. And I want to remind everybody that we did see in March of 2023, 2 of the victims' families go into court and reserve their rights to file legal proceedings if they found that wrongdoing had been done in this case by either the city or the university. And they were forced into that position because there was a statute of limitations. So they had to do something by a certain date. But the point I'm bringing up, and I hope I'm not going way out far in left field, but I want to bring this up, you guys, because every time I think about this lawsuit and how the house got torn down and how bizarre that is, like, why would you tear down
First time ever in a murder case?
Why would you ever do that? Why would you ever tear down the largest piece of evidence in a case? Well, there's this lawsuit issue. I don't know what you could ever prove as far as the university or the city doing wrong, except one thing. Let me just take this comment down. And you guys tell me if I'm way out in left field with this. The only thing I can think of where they could actually prove some sort of wrongdoing is something along the lines of this. I'll show you a photo. I got to take down your banner here, Kane. Hold on.
Okay, that's all right.
So I've got this picture of a blurred out portion of a house. Let me pull up a better picture here. What if, and this is all speculation and theory, but it's all in the spirit of like, what could possibly the parents be reserving their rights for, or tearing down that house would be in proximity to? And all I can think is, well, we know that Kaylee's phone went offline at 2:56, and we know that in a house full of young adults who have technology at their fingertips, who probably instinctively use their technology more than either of us, no distress call was put out, no 911 call was put out. Nobody said, hey, Surrey, please, nothing. Why?
Okay, then.
That's Surrey, my Surrey. What could it be that there was some sort of, and again, speculation, there was some sort of cell phone interceptor? Because there's a picture on Heather Fitzgerald's page that they, let's see if I might have it here. This is the last thing I'm going to bring up. I'm going to bring up Heather Fitzgerald's page because she had the photos and she was showing them for another reason, but this was a stingray photo that Jason, the Michael Eldario had brought up to me. Hold on, I'm bringing up Heather's page. What if there was a stingray involved? Because if there's a cell phone interceptor, there are known lawsuits throughout this country of 911 calls that have been dropped or interfered with, because that is the most notorious symptom of a stingray. And I'm not saying stingray is terms of the brand. I'm saying stingray in terms of like the equipment. It's a general broad term for a cell phone interceptor. So let me take this down. All right, so I've got Heather Fitzgerald's page here. And if you look down here, she had posted some pics right here. All right, so let's look at these guys. Oh, I can't toggle. Hold on.
I hate it when you can't toggle.
That's so annoying. And I like zoomed in to help the audience see, and it's not really helping me.
I was talking to Jen last night. I'm like, push down on your mouse wheel. She's like, I don't have a mouse wheel. I'm on a laptop. Like, how do you live?
That does mess with me too when I switch mouses into my my laptop. Well, anyway, in this picture, the point I'm bringing up is these guys, they can be seen in the next frame. All of them are pointing and staring at a tree. And this is the crime scene, but this is like literally like, I don't know, this is like a week afterwards. So that this wasn't necessarily a collection of evidence. What could they have been pointing at on the high side of the house, staring up at the trees? And people have brought up, could they have been looking at one of these places that is blanked out on Google Earth that could potentially, allegedly, be a place where a cell phone interceptor was located? But anyway, I wanted to throw that out because I can't seem to get over the stingray. And I wanted to bring it up to you, Kane, because we all sit here and we're like, okay, well, what would be a reason? What would be a reason to make a transaction to that house? Well, because if you transition it into a party that can tear it down, well, then the largest piece of evidence is gone in an upcoming trial. Two of them, potentially, two potential lawsuits, one to the city, one to the university. So anyway, I wanted to throw that out there, but I really do have to wrap this live stream up because my dogs have to go outside and eat and I can't get around it. But
I can hold it down if you want to go walk your dogs for a minute. I have a lot to say that I'll catch you up on when you get back.
Yeah, I'll go feed my dogs and I'll give you the floor for a little bit.
Yeah, I could be Agent M. I'm telling you, I can walk your dogs. I'll make you breakfast. I make a good cup of coffee.
Is this good the way it is right now, or do you want me here? Let me take myself off.
No, leave yourself up. I like the background.
Okay.
It soothes me.
I will be back, you guys.
Say reporting with Kane Bees the Purge. This is Swamp Rose. Check it out.
This is Swamp Rose signing off to Kane Bee the Purge.
Now I don't even know what to say now. Let's tell jokes for the next 20 minutes. My wife. No, okay. Yeah, go ahead and walk your dog, feed the dogs. Jen, where was I? Now I'm so nervous. I don't even know. Okay, so there is a serial rapist, allegedly. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that word, but it happened. Anyway, at WSU University right now, and some of you may have seen my short, and I proposed whether I'm bombing now. That's gonna be the end of me on YouTube now. I don't know why I'm frozen like that too. I don't know. Where was I on the thing? Oh, so it's much easier when I'm explaining it to Swamp Rose, I think. Hi, I'm so nervous now. No, there. I allege that maybe that has something to do with it. I just somehow, regardless of whether BK is somehow at WSU also. Well, there was a Jen in Criminal Confidential. Thank you. There was a previous very famous SA guy that the case was it was nationwide. It was a huge case, and he was a serial doer. Okay, and so now it appears from an incident that resulted from a interaction in the gym at WSU that other women have come out and said that they have been somehow maybe anonymously attacked, and they don't have a suspect, and police are asking for your help finding the white Elantra at this point. But they say that 95% of SAs go unreported. Isn't that a scary fact? That is, and especially on college campuses. So you have another one appears. Now, whether you think BK is guilty or not, wherever you stand, you're welcome to your opinion. And I always appreciate a counterpoint on anything, right? But my overall feeling in this case is that there is still a danger out there, that there is still somebody that was involved in this awful situation that is still just walking the streets. And whether they were connected to BK or they weren't or whatever, I think we're out of the whole, oh, it was Xana's mom's fault thing now, right? I think we're past that. I think we're past the AB, because that's just not how they operate. You got to really listen to like A.R. Hayes's very insightful description of how these gangs operate. The Hells Angels, the AB, they're somewhat connected, but the first thing that you'll find is that they have a standard mode of operating. If something's going to be done, then it's going to be done by one of them, and it's going to be done, and they're going to take credit for it. And this is something I've seen over in all my documentary watching experience. That is typically what they say. Whatever the crime, they will take one of their own, and I'm sure it's like you're pulling up the short end of the matchsticks, when you get something like, I have to go and pull this murderer unaliver out of the prison yard and get him somewhere to safety. And then they end up committing 2 more unalivings on the way, if you're familiar with that case. And so, but that guy drew that straw. He had that debt to pay to them. And so that, with A.R. Hayes, very, very insightful look. And he's been in it. He's been through it, and top to bottom. Okay. And none of us doubt that. And so for this to be done by them, we would already know in some way. I believe they would have taken credit for it, as awful as it is. Woke up 1984 in here. Okay, sorry. Linda Lane up in the. If anybody hasn't seen my my backward masking of Chief Fry, I'm gonna make a short of it so more people get to enjoy. When we did the backward masking, it was Jen's idea actually to do it backwards, and I just kind of rolled with it. But the CIA or whatever released, or what documents were released of a study that showed that people tend to tell the truth backwards. When they're lying forwards in normal speech, they subconsciously tell the truth backwards, believe it or not. And it's a subconscious thing. It's why you have the Eagles records and whatever, and the Led Zeppelins and stuff, and you play Stereo Heaven backwards and you hear messages. Well, I did that with Chief Fry. We did hear a couple messages. It's the problem with it is I have to go through all of the speeches, and I want to do Grub Truck. I want to do Linda Lane backward masked, where you could possibly hear the truth or whatever. I don't know. Linda Lane would be a reach, but that's a True Killer want me to do. So I was like, okay. But Grub Truck was one Jen suggested. And excuse me. There's also a Backrooms video with that. If any of you happen to have the time to watch it, it's pretty fun. And so anyway, so going back to that, I believe we've kind of eliminated that as more of a distraction. It is, of course, a possibility, and there's all kinds of facts and dates and coincidences there. It's just like in every other thing in this case. Tony Stevenson, my man. So what I want to do is play more of, I like to take it something where they're not reading from a script. So when they're asking questions. Now, at the first press conference that Chief Fry did, I believe it was the first or second, whatever, is where I pulled the video from. Now, I would love to know, since we have such a larger audience here tonight, or this afternoon, does anybody know, was Justin, if you all are familiar with Justin, who came out saying all those things about DM, and I could swear, and if you watch the video, maybe Swamp will play it when she comes back with the dogs, is that I swear I saw him in the crowd as one of the reporters, and he had a stack of index cards, okay, of questions, and he didn't get to ask questions. I don't think he might have. No, I don't think he did. He's sitting next to somebody that did, though, and I think it was the fake reporter that was there. That if nobody knows, the lady who they caught wasn't actually a reporter, was unalived in a single car accident after the press conference. If that's not another coinky dink for you that you didn't know about, right? It's cold up there, huh? Swamp, hi. It's like 95. Oh no, it's 95 here. So I see a jacket. I'm like, man, she must be dying. No, it's actually like a cool 70 out here. I'm opening my window, but this is the same window I broadcast the hurricane from. So it's got memories.
Clearwater's above the freezing lines. I mean, so you get frost and stuff over there, just probably not for like 2 more months.
We actually in 78, I think, got snow, or 76. And it was enough to make a snowball with off my buddy's windshield. And he gets the paper. He used to get the paper for his dad every day because his dad took the papers. He took the papers, and he made a snowball. And behind the newspaper, he had the snowball, and he threw it at his dad and gave his dad a black eye and a big red puffy eye. But literally, that's one of 2 times I've seen snow. When it gets cold here, it might get down to 30, but it will it'll be 85 by noon, no question. There's not a whole day where you go out and you're comfortable in pants and a nice jacket and a hat and all that business. That's why I'm ready to flee out here. But anyway, so how was your walk?
It was brief, but it's good enough. As long as like I probably have another 15 minutes I can get away with this live stream before I gotta break away. But you were just talking about can you just tell me what you were just talking about when I came in the room? You were mentioning an arrest, something to do with Moscow Police Department. I'm just wondering, I saw some sort of video this morning on that, and I kind of caught the tail end of what you were saying. I was hoping.
There is a alleged serial essayer on the loose in Pullman, and it was reported from an incident that happened at the gym of the university, I believe. I'd love to be in Boston. I want to do that Freedom Trail in Boston. Anyway. And what I was saying is that 95% of essays go unreported, and that as soon as this girl came forward, like 20 others or something like that. So there's an alert out right now, and I propose, could this possibly be for the have to do with the case? Because I always feel that whoever is involved, whether BK is or not, there's somebody out there walking the streets that had something to do with this. I mean, is that such a wild stretch? Now, before I go in, before you cut me off and kick me to the curb, I wanted to mention. Shoot, I had something. Darn it. Go ahead. Never mind.
Why I write everything down. It's interesting you bring that up because we saw Warning Label Nina in here earlier, and we are going to be talking about some stats out of Idaho. I don't want to give too much away because it's going to be a pretty impactful segment, but we are.
Okay, I remembered now. I remember what I was going to say.
Shoot, then, because I don't.
Okay, so picture this. Before I forget, Swamp. What are the chances that we've heard WSU Kim say, and all these witnesses say that they were walking their dog by 1122 in the morning. They saw a crowd gathered, right?
Yeah.
So we have between 8 and 12 p.m. or 12 noon, crack of noon. And in that time, what are the chances that now we know college students love the Twitters, they love the Facebooks, the Book of Face, the Tubes of You, the Twitch, they communicate with text, right? So there's no, it's not like if I asked you out on a date and you said, okay, I'll meet you there at 6 and we'll meet at the movies, and I would show up and you would show up and we didn't have cell phones. You know, it was just a time. What are the chances in this instant society that we have these young kids with all their phones between 8 and 12 gathering in front of the house, that one of them didn't contact, say, a campus police officer, of which there are 4. There's 2 regular officers and 2 detectives, which are stationed on campus. Let's say that one of the neighbors just noticed some fracas going on over at 1122 that morning and texted one of these officers or knocked on their door and said, hey, something's going on, go check it out. And the police were there before noon, but they didn't say that because there was no report taken for an unconscious person, as we've seen a million times in Moscow. And so what are the chances that maybe one of the people that were there texted one of these guys and they came, and then they called their superiors and said, this is the situation. What do we do? No, don't do that. This is how we handle it. And this is where they walked in. They knew it was someone that it would bring down the university, that it would destroy the credibility and the enrollment, which we know is number 1 in Scott Green's life. Okay. What are the chances that they said this is going to be the playbook? Say that you saw somebody, instead of like in the olden days, not to be racist, but they'd say, oh, it was a black guy, just like the Menendez guys said, right? That's what they tried to pin on. Oh, no, instead now it's somebody with a black ski mask. And this is going to be the narrative. Everybody's going to stick it to it, whatever. I don't know. But listen, and so what are the chances that one of the police officers was contacted before noon? And so when the cops got there at noon, allegedly the rest of them, they already had the plan in place. They sent the fire department away. How do you get there and instantly know that you're not going to need some medical attention? How in the world do you know that? And so that's all.
Well, let me show you this. So I have an interesting clip just along the lines of what you're saying. Because I've always thought campus police would have been the first ones there too. I don't have any basis for that. But this is a really interesting video. I never, ever see anyone bringing up this clip. And it's unreal. I mean, it's not unreal. It could just be a mistake on like some of the most major networks with some of the most famous anchors, but I don't know. I'll let you guys watch it. You tell me what you think. And then after that, I gotta sign off for the day. But you guys are gonna find this interesting. This clip was provided to me by Mikey S. If you see him around, please let him know I said thank you. He's so smart for fine. We originally told that the 911 call was at 11 or 11:56. Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Swamp Rose, and this video features adult content. It is for research, criticism, and analysis, reaction, and commentary. Please do your own research, inform your own opinions. Hold on. I would love to know what you think, so please comment below. So if you don't know what to comment below, just go ahead and comment your favorite true crime hashtag and start a conversation. Here, we'll play this part. Pause here on this. I wanted to pause here on these 2 screenshots. So this woman is a reporter for WXLY, and these are her text messages on the left, where she says, damn, you're right. We did not include that in our story. And then the second text message says, it's just awful. And then the third one says, another student in the hospital. It's one of the many pieces that the police aren't talking about. So I would love to know what you think. What do you make of this? Do you think that this is just an oversight in reporting? Okay, so I wanted to, that wasn't what I want to show you. I want to show you this, but what you're saying, could campus police have been brought here ahead of time? Well, I have this interesting news clip.
In Idaho, as authorities try to figure out who murdered 4 college students as they slept in their beds. I'm Anjanette Levy, and welcome to Law and Crime's Sidebar podcast. We are taking a closer look at that tragic murder investigation that is underway in Idaho. This is where 4 college students were stabbed in their beds a little bit more than a week ago. Ethan Chapin, Kaylee Goncalves, Xana Cornodal, and Madison Mogan were found stabbed to death just before 11 a.m. on Sunday, November 13th. All 4 students had been out for the night before, but police said that they've been working on the timeline, and they've been able to determine that all of those students, the 4, were home by 1:45 in the morning. So they've really established a timeline here. And then that 911 call was placed at 11 a.m., so just about 9 hours later. So it's a real mystery. In the morning. So they've really established a timeline here. And then that 911 call was placed at 11 a.m., so just about 9 hours later.
Did you hear it? Okay.
9 hours later, yeah.
No, she says the call was placed at 11 a.m. twice.
Oh, wow.
And that's Anjanette Levy, on Long Crime Sidebar. I mean,
That's one of those spin your head around things.
It really is. I mean,
so it's a real mystery, and it's pretty disturbing what happened to these college students.
So anyway, I wanted to play you that because I think that's one of those. This is just one of those sound bites that we have archived as creators from the very beginning, and it blows our mind when we hear it. How does Anjanette Levy on Long Crime Sidebar all of a sudden say 11 a.m. was the 911 call? So anyway,
okay, so just to wrap it up in a tight little bow, what I've come to notice is that when you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything.
Amen.
Okay, and there doesn't usually tend to be facts from the people with the truth, the actual truth givers, that don't add up. When you got the truth, stuff just adds up. I'm not a conspiracy theorist like Rolamato says. I'm a stuff doesn't add up theorist. Okay. Now, the reason that tighten it up in one little, and thank you, Happy Hounds, for that comment, is, okay, what I've shown, I believe, pretty clearly in a general way, is that all of these different organizations use a tightly knit group to, and we've heard them say it, that they can cover up anything. They can take out anybody at any time. That once it's gotten into the system, and I believe that the university has departments, and of course, there's great people in law enforcement. There's awesome people at the university and all these townspeople, but they got to cover their butts too. And because that's your family, it's not like if University of Idaho gets kicked out and closed, like so many other universities have closed in Idaho recently, there's going to be another one that just waltzes right in. You know what I mean? That's it. Money gone, family over. And so, it just shows that with the levels of protection that they have with the university, with the organizations, that they could possibly have formulated another narrative at that time and just kept running with it. And there, if you knew, you knew. And if it was a need to know basis, you don't need to know. And that's all we get, is you don't need to know. Oh, we're going to tell you everything. They never told us jack. Never told us anything after those. And you know why? Because you got the mayor. He's running his mouth. They got to shut him up. They got too much pressure on Chief Fry, et cetera, et cetera. You guys all know. And I woke up Rolamato.
Rolo's here.
He went to the World Series game, and he drives all the way up to LA for it. And they hit a walk-off grand slam to win the game, like the biggest moment in baseball history. He's there for.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got that memory roll.
And he's got some really. I played his videos on my show, and he's got some really killer stuff out right now. So you guys definitely want to check out Rolomoto.
Rolo makes videos. I didn't know that.
Oh, he's got a
I'm
his
joking.
channel is amazing. Yeah, no.
No, I've literally made like
Okay, I wasn't. I don't. I haven't. I guess
hours of Rolo Moto Linda Lane footage on this channel.
All right, but that's what. Thank you so much for having me on today. I love being on your show.
Kane, I just want to say you are such a good sport to jump up on the live stream and speak extemporaneously on Stickergate for me. I mean, I just can't thank you enough. I feel like I understand the psychology behind it so much more from seeing that footage. And I mean, I know all the points you're bringing up about organizations and steps and hierarchies and patriarchies. I get it. And the one thing I will say, in the midst of everything that you were just bringing up about financial transactions and stuff, one thing that we can agree on is probably when the police are saying the house was the target, I do think that it does add a layer to this investigation.
Wow, yeah.
When you're not investigating,
I like that.
Individuals, you're investigating nonprofit groups that have protections, and they also have anonymity in their boards and stuff like that. So I'm just bringing that up. And I know Estes, I'm not sure which corporation owned the 1122 King Road home. If it was, I think it was, I don't want to keep repeating a name if I'm getting it wrong, but I do like your point. I see how, along with the gag order, how this would be difficult for the police to investigate. I mean, how do you get warrants for all those financial transactions? And then when we see, my dogs are making so much noise, I'm sorry. When we see all those extended financial warrants that came out on December 2nd, where we had Department of Labor, and those were extended Department of Labor warrants. And so, I mean, we have redacted names on there. We have 3 redacted names. So what entities were they seeking financial information from? That was including front and back of checks, all transactions, so I do understand where you're going. And it's very fascinating and a lot of food for thought. So thank you for coming on my show, and please visit Kane's channel and watch the rest of this video and check out his live streams. I'm usually there in the live chat, not for the entire 5 hours, but I stop in. It's always fun. All my friends are there. So,
like I said, if you want to hang around, it's always a good time. I try to keep it interesting, and I enjoyed being on the show. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for showing up, and thank you to the live chat, and most of all, thank you to the viewers. If you don't remember anything else from the show today, remember this: we are nothing without you. So thank you for watching. Thank you for your feedback, and I hope you guys have a great day. Take care.
See ya.
Bye.